What's going on, everyone? My name is Noah, and today we're going to look at 10 beginner tips for Season 6 in Apex Legends. This video is aimed at people who are picking up the game for the first time, haven't played since Season 1 or 2, or just anyone in that beginner range trying to get their feet wet. Let's not waste any more time and get into the tips. And number 1, we're going to talk about the training mode. This one is aimed at people who are just picking up the game or have taken a break since the previous seasons and want to jump straight back in. The training mode in Apex Legends is a basic tutorial showing you how the game works at its core. This will give fresh players a way to understand what is what before jumping into the actual games. Along with that, a small bonus tip for more experienced players would be to not neglect the firing range. The firing range allows you to try out new weapons and legends without the risk of having to lose the gear or reset like in a regular match. Alright, coming in at number 2, we're going to talk about the Legends Select screen. This tip is kind of a 2-in-1. Take a look at the Legends screen and read on each Legend's abilities. This will help you to get a grasp of what you can expect to go up against and have in your arsenal before you load into a game. Then, in my opinion, I'd say pick at least 3 Legends that sound interesting to play as. Given the fact that you can only play duos or trios in this game, it's likely the character you want to play as will get picked by one of your teammates. So it's always good to have a backup character to use. Moving on to number 3, we're going to talk about crafting. New to Season 6, Apex Legends has introduced a crafting system designed for newer players and more passive players so that they have another option on getting gear without the risk of fighting for it. Throughout the map, you will see multiple crafting stations or replicators to take the materials to that you find around the map, either from opening crates or from the material deposits. Another tip to note is that the gear and replicators are rotated on a weekly and daily basis. Another tip within that is whatever gear is in the crafting station is the only way you will be able to obtain that gear. It will not spawn in the world if it is in the replicator. Moving on to number 4, we're going to talk about playstyles. Given every player is different, there are also different types of playstyles. In my time playing Apex, I believe there are around 4 to 5 main types of players that you'll encounter when you jump into Apex Legends. Starting off, there are aggressive and push players. Push players are players who thrive on a fast-paced, in-your-face combat environment. Whether there's one team or 3, all push players see is kills to add to their in-game stats. You will find players of this style are on the more experienced and competitive spectrum of Apex Legends. Players who prefer this style will more than likely select Legends who specialize in fast-paced combat such as Wraith, Octane, and Mirage. Coming in at number 2, we have defensive players. Defensive players are players who prefer a slower, more methodical form of combat. You will find that passive players select Legends who excel in defensive capabilities, such as Caustic, Watson, and Gibraltar. Next, we have Trappers. Unlike defensive or push players, Trappers are what you would consider a hybrid of the two. Trappers prefer to set up opposing players by booby trapping and camping out specific parts of the map that they know are high in traffic. In doing so, this allows them to catch teams off guard, which enables them to push with little risk. Players who prefer this style will have teams diverse in skill among their Legends, mixing attack and defensive for the ultimate combination. And at number 5, we have third-party lurkers. These players are similar to Trappers in the sense that they like to get the jump on other teams. Unlike defensive players, lurkers don't target fresh out of combat squads. Third-party lurkers are patient and prefer to strike at the opportune moment right after a battle when opposing teams are weak and are trying to recover. Players who enjoy this style will combine Legends who specialize in scouting and attacking, such as Revenant, Crypto, Bloodhound, and Bangalore. Moving on to tip number 5, we're going to talk about the weapons in Apex Legends. There are snipers, SMGs, LMGs, shotguns, pistols, and assault rifles with different kinds of ammo. The types of ammo are specific to that class of weapon. The ammo types are energy, light, heavy, and sniper. Personally, I prefer to run SMGs because I play fast and perform better at a mid-close range combat. One good thing to think about is when you're playing with friends, strategize who's running what type of weapons, so you don't overlap and end up running low on ammo because you're all using the same kind. So next up, we're going to talk about communication. Communication is a huge part of winning any game, and Apex is no different. Apex features a ping system, meaning you can communicate with your team even when you're not speaking to them in game chat or party chat. By pressing RB on Xbox or R1 on PlayStation, you'll place a marker in the direction you were facing when you pressed it. Double tapping your bumper sends a red icon in the direction, meaning you spotted enemies in that direction. Being able to effectively communicate can make a difference in close matches during the final circles, whether it be pinging enemy teams or loot that will help improve your inventory for combat. Coming in at number 7, Apex Legends also features supply drops that contain high tier loot, and they're dropped randomly across the map. There are 2 types of supply drops: care packages and replicator drops. Care packages contain at least 1 inventory item that is rare or higher. The classes in Apex Legends for loot goes from common, which is gray, to rare, which is blue, to legendary, which is gold, and epic, which is purple. Replicator drops are a different story. Replicator drops contain weapons, attachments, and armor upgrades that can be purchased using materials that you've collected throughout the map. A good care package can change the momentum of any game. Coming in at number 8, Apex Legends also offers players alternate forms of obtaining high-tier loot via cargo bots and vaults. Cargo bots are flying drones that switch from the colors of blue, purple, and gold. If shot and knocked down while on a certain color, a piece of gear from that tier will drop. There are also vaults spread out within the map of Apex Legends. These vaults require keys to open that can be found in cargo bots that are flashing red, or from loot boxes of enemies that you've defeated. Vaults include strictly legendary gear, such as armor, backpacks, helmets, attachments, and shields. Moving on to number 9, we're going to talk about the circle in Apex and how it works. Much like any other battle royale game, the objective is to survive. Outside of worrying about the other players in Apex, you have to worry about the circle. The circle is a region on the map that is what you would consider the safe zone. As you progress in the match, a timer will count down, initiating a storm. The storm does constant damage to those who are in it and not inside the circle. As the game progresses, the storm will get faster and do more damage over time. It is key that you always be mindful of where you are on the map and where the circle is, because you don't want to lose a game because you didn't move to the circle fast enough. One thing to remember is that the storm moves faster depending on what side of the map the circle is on. The farther side from the circle is the slowest moving side in which the storm will move. One key element of knowledge about the circle is knowing how to rotate mid-game. Coming in at number 10, we're going to talk about a key element in winning Apex games, which is rotation. Rotating mid-game is basically the equivalent of moving toward the circle strategically, whether it be to avoid multiple squads fighting or to beat other teams to the circle so you can set up shop and catch people who failed to rotate in time. That's going to do it for me, guys. I just want to thank you for stopping by. Comment down below if there are any tips you feel like I've missed or any tips that you've learned from playing the game yourself. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time.